that I really like, and that went to, let's just say, the team that I wouldn't like to name, but he was Maddison, right? So, Amit, uh, what are your thoughts on Maddison, bro?
Yeah, man, you got a
I'm
good guy.
really
Finally,
excited about that
finally a
transfer.
transfer of
First of
substance
all,
for
it's a very big relief that we are finally getting a player in first 2 weeks of transfer window, which we used to
Congratulations.
drag for the last till the last day and then lose the transfer then and there.
Yeah.
So we didn't want to do that, but yeah, this was a position that we wanted to fill since Ericsson. We
Yeah.
didn't have any creative player uh, who can even pass a ball forward. Right now, what we have is they just pass the ball sidewards and
सीधा
uh,
पेल दिया.
even lob the ball and do whatever they cannot
Oh.
stitch 2 to 3 passes right now. Our midfield cannot stitch 2 to 3 passes together.
Oh my
So
God.
we needed it desperately. We got a very good deal on him.
Yeah.
So yeah, you might have heard a 40 million deal, but ask us, it's a 30 million deal that we have got on James Maddison, because what we gave them in exchange was Harry Winks for 10 million, which we would have given on free if they would have asked for it. Just take him
Oh
away from
man.
our hands.
Wow, man. Levy
So
is a transfer god, man. How? What is this?
Levy can buy a player of 60 million in 40 and sell a player worth of 3 million in 10 millions.
That's right.
Yeah,
Right,
man.
he can do all kind of black magic that is required to get all these things done. So it's a very cheap deal. So there are a lot of factors that helped us reaching here. One was that Madison desperately wanted to join Spurs. He clearly mentioned he did not want to join Newcastle. That's why Newcastle also backed out of
Okay.
the race. And because the race was over, it uh, forced Leicester to lower their price.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, nobody was
Actually,
coming.
Hmm.
Europa, I mean, being in Europa
Championship.
conference, wherever Spurs are, that appealed to him more than the Champions League.
Hey, we are
Obviously, it's
in
always
nowhere
a
in
flex.
Europe, man. We are nowhere in Europe right now. Okay,
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
no
So,
no need to put salt on our
Wounds.
wounds.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
no
Man,
no need
he
of
bhai,
thought
doing that.
bhai,
Okay, let's
he
not.
thought why play Champions League when you can play nothing.
I think
Yeah,
I
That's the
think
thing.
it also had something to do with the fact that you were paying him 180K, whereas
correct.
exactly. That's
Newcastle,
the point.
That is
uh,
also a big
the
thing.
That is not
wages
also. That is the.
Newcastle, the wages capped at 120K, my brother.
120K, correct. I think
Okay,
their
okay.
highest paid player is Bruno Guimaraes, who is
Isa-
earning Bruno Guimaraes,
Isak,
right?
Isak, Isak is also well played, I thought. Well paid, I thought. But yeah,
But yeah, fine. I mean, yeah,
Correct.
that was the point because Maddison is 27 or 28, I
26,
guess.
Dude,
So
20,
26. He is
26, he turns
26
27 this year, right?
this year.
27,
Yeah.
yeah. So obviously he's looking for a bigger contract and a fat paycheck, of course, and also
Correct.
wants to stay in the Premier League, of course, rather than go to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
So of course,
Yeah.
So
yeah,
basically, as another thing that we needed desperately is goal contribution from any other player. Right now,
yeah,
Kane and Son, if you remove them from the team, even Son last year did not showed up well. But if you get them out of the team, we have zero goal contribution, a very minimal goal contribution for every other player. And this guy has made 20 goal contributions in a relegated side. Right. So
Hmm.
he
yeah,
was the only bright light for Leicester, maybe along with
nice.
Harvey Barnes. But
Yeah, yeah.
Maddison was
Hmm.
solely taking this team forward.
Yeah,
Another thing that we improved with Maddison is free kick. Right. We finally don't need to get Harry Kane on behind the free kick, which he's
Yeah.
not good at. So finally, we have a free kick taker after Ericsson. So yeah, that was so like we had 3 years we played without a replacement for Ericsson, and finally we have one. Super excited. He's proven in Premier League.
Yeah.
He he is
I
good.
guess he's
Just
going to enjoy Ange
Ange's
Postoglu's,
game.
yeah, Ange's,
Yeah, he
yeah,
will suit Ange's game like a glove. What he wants is a player that is pressing the center backs, a
yeah,
player who can dribble, who can get past the defenders very easily, which he
yeah.
is doing, taking shots, being at right place at the right time. All of those things will help him out. The only thing he's not good at is probably tracking back.
Yeah.
Tracking back is not his very strong suit, but probably he will live with it in the NJ system. So yeah, I think it's a very
From what I've
I'm actually, I'm not sure about that. At least from what I have seen him play in general, at least, and mixed with the statistics and all that. What at least his stats say is that he makes in the final defensive third, at least his tackling rate is pretty good. To tackle into the final defensive third, you have to be in defensive third. So I always thought that maybe he tracks back pretty well. For Leicester, I didn't think I noticed him that much, if he runs back that much or not. But from stats at least, I thought that's what it meant, that he probably tracks back, which would be helpful. See, what I understand about Maddison is that, he generally plays box to box, right? But he has the ability to carry forward and go. But he has incredible stamina as well. So he can come back quickly and tackle the ball and all that. That's what I love in general about his game. So I'm not sure because I've not seen him play too much unless we are playing Leicester. But from what I understood with his game is at least quite complete for his experience and for his position. So yeah, I mean that's probably something that is a little bit contradicting to me. But I've seen him limited, so I'm not sure. Yeah.
Probably number 10 is not expected to track back a lot. You can make a case of it that he was doing interception because probably they were getting pressed at. So if you are getting pressed at, your team is behind the line, right? Behind the half. So they
Probably,
are he is doing those interceptions, but in a pressing team, when he is in the top in the D of other team, he will not be tracking back a lot and coming back to defend for counter attacks.
No, actually, the
Okay.
also the other
Interception.
point is also the more important point is that again we are talking about a Leicester team that just got relegated, like right. So the problem is that most of the times the entire Leicester team are pinned down. So whatever Abhay AJ mentioned about the tackle rate and all, yes, I mean when when the opposition keeps playing around with the ball side to side, you've got to run a lot to cover the spaces. Then you've got to tackle. But he's not a natural tackler or a natural ball winner. That is for sure. And as a number 10, you're not expected to track back all the time. Your primary job is to stay up. You expect the midfield ball carrier to, pass the ball into you, and then you engage the wingers and the forwards. And the other important point is that I enjoy his post-match pressures, man. He is the most honest guy. Is the most honest guy in the Premier League. If he has a bad performance, he'll put his hand up and say, I played shit. I played shit. And and upon his own admission, he has said that you do not play for Brendan Rodgers if not each and every player press. So pressing is something he's already good at. He'll do well. I mean, yeah. I mean, and, like Amit mentioned, is a perfect signing for Spurs.
Just to add, he's the first signing that NJ has requested Levy to have, and that's why it has gone too soon. And yeah, sorry, Abhay, go ahead. I also have few other points I will add.
I'm going to list out some positive points of him, right? Because I'm a big fan of the player. Personally, I'm a big fan of the player. So, firstly, great ball striking. Absolutely great ball striking. Left foot, right foot, pinging from here to there. You give him runners. I mean, you have runner in Heung-min Son for sure. I'm not sure Kulusevski is that much of a runner in terms of pace. But you give him runners and a player like Harry Kane, who is off the ball runs are great. It's a recipe for great goals.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The way he receives the ball on the half turn, the ability to turn, the ability to dribble. Oh my God, what a player. But here's the thing. At the second half of the season, right, a lot of Leicester fans were complaining that he has down tools.
Yeah.
And that is the only question mark I have with his mentality, because to me, he's a single man match winner kind of a player that can change the course of the game, who can win matches on his own. I mean, if my team is pinned back and a player like this decides to down his tools, it kind of doesn't ring well with me. That's my only issue with him.
Yeah, he has
but his
I think,
but I will but I will not question his attitude actually, because I have seen his tweets. I also like the player. So I've seen his tweets. He has actually responded to those criticisms as well.
Okay.
Yeah, AJ, go ahead.
I
Sorry
know.
to
I was
interrupt.
like, I think I would also want to listen what I responded, but I just wanted to add that Leicester, if you're talking about just last year, right, last season, then Leicester has horrible second half, man.
Yeah.
So I mean, no matter how good you are, a player can see where everything is going. He's in the dressing table. He is with everybody else, and he can see how things are turning on the pitch. I feel, for anybody that will bring down your morale a little bit, if not a lot. And I think Rajesh will probably expand on
No, I mean, do
where
you
he said.
remember how Liverpool won against Leicester away? Abhay? Anyone?
Oh,
Amit, if you remember, I was closely watching that game because, that guy who looks like Louis Pie, I guess, he conceded 2 own goals, gifted away
ah,
2 own goals to Liverpool after Leicester were 2-0 ahead. And that was a very important game for Leicester that they had to win. But they
yeah,
lost that game
mm,
because that would have actually turned their season around. I believe that was a good turning point. Had they won that game, maybe upturn in form or some good
momentum,
thing.
yeah, probably,
Yeah,
yeah.
some momentum.
Mm-hmm.
But
So
yeah, they
yeah, just
gifted
to
away
add
2 own goals.
what I have seen from Maddison. So even so we had a very good match against Leicester last season where we won 6-2. But even in that match, because we were even leading the game, we did win the game with a good margin. The best player on the pitch was Maddison. Uh,
Right.
it was no one from Spurs team. It was no one
Mm-hmm.
else from Leicester team. The best player even in that loss was Maddison.
Yeah.
So he is a really good player, and also I think Spurs is chasing him for past 10 years. From 2015, probably they are behind him. They got Dele Alli. They had to choose between Dele and Madison. They choose Dele,
Wow, wow.
uh,
Wow.
which right now, if you ask, it was a bad decision. But he had good time. Dele also had good times. But yeah,
Those
we
are
are
all.
chasing him for a long time. Even in Mourinho era, we were chasing him, but we did not sign him because of his defensive things. Mourinho would not want
Oh,
any of
yeah.
his players to
Mm-hmm.
lack
Those are
anything
all
defensive.
Pochettino's
I'm a
people.
little surprised that other teams did not go for him. Other
That
Yeah,
teams.
also
true,
I would
actually,
like to
yeah.
add on this. So why there's another reason why this deal has happened so quickly, right? Because they just went into the negotiation 24 hours back, and everything got sealed in the next
Uh,
24 hours. Why? How? I am
What?
surprised because Spurs
because
are
I never see
not
that with Levy, bro. I never
correct.
see that with
So
Levy.
now the reason that I have read about it is because Rexter is reporting a lot of losses,
Oh,
right? And 30th of June reports the end of financial year for football. They
Mm-hmm.
had to cut their losses by selling their most
To
prized
balance the
asset,
books. Yeah,
and even
Mm-hmm.
because this comes all under FFP and other teams,
correct.
if you wait till 30th June, everybody's new calendar year starts and everybody starts to bid for Madison. So this was match made in heaven for both other teams that he
well
needed the
played.
player.
Wow, that
He
is
wanted.
interesting, man. That is very interesting. I mean,
Yes,
it
So
just
true
worked
that.
out for both of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Well played. Because I
Okay.
was reading somewhere that Manchester City had started looking at him, but they were surprised that it was already a done deal, right?
correct.
They were
Because
surprised?
they were surprised that it went so fast. So
Ah,
Manchester
Yeah.
City at this point of time is more busy in seeing the players that are leaving their team and then buying players based on that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So now that he's gone, it seems Manchester City is looking at Gabri Veiga
There you go.
from La Liga. But I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my God, I would have hated if City would have got Maddison. I would have
Madison.
hated
Yeah,
Yeah.
it.
yeah, true.
So
Even
Because
how do you rate the
agree, yeah.
transfer, guys? How do you rate the transfer? Abhay, you can go ahead.
uh, for me, he's like for me, he's a 9. The 1 point I've only deducted is only because I'm not sure about his mentality. Otherwise, as a player, what a player!
I'll
Beautiful.
give that 1 point that you missed out on because I'm sure of his attitude. He's a
Yeah.
brilliant player. I have a totally different opinion because I've followed his tweets, his pressers, and a person with a negative or a lower mentality than what is required to operate in the Premier League wouldn't speak of such things. I mean,
Okay.
so it's a 10 out of 10 because he went to Spurs. So brilliant transfer. Kudos.
Yeah.
So AJ,
Yeah,
how
I'd
do you rate?
say, yeah, I'd say 9 out of 10. Even I would say 10 out of 10, but I just want to see how he fills that Ericsson role, right? Because that's where he is there. I love that guy, by the way. In
Yeah.
Leicester, you could see you could see him basically. In Leicester's game, you could see him play. You could follow him. That's how good he was for Leicester.
Yeah.
And I feel like
So
for Spurs, it's a fantastic signing for Spurs as well because it fits for them. The hole that Ericsson has already left. So yeah,
um,
fantastic. Congratulations, man. I'd say 9 out of 10. That one point is just that I want to see how it goes for them. But apart from that, I feel like it just works perfectly.
so
Where is
Amit,
like that English teacher that is like keeping 1.1 marks with him to for you to improve, have that improvement space. It is always like
I'm
so.
basically between 9
Yeah,
and 10, you know. It's just, I am
9.5
there
भी
with
दे
you.
सकते हैं bro.
And 9.5 with this sector, I would go with
yeah,
9.5, not an issue at
yeah.
all. Yeah. I just
So
love the
Amit,
guy, man. I actually
I would
absolutely love the guy.
I would give it a 10 out of 10 sheerly for the quality we are
oh
having.
sorry,
For
I
the
forgot
Mm.
you are a Spurs fan. Ah,
yeah,
yeah, go
for
ahead.
the for the quality we are having. See, man, as a Spurs fan, I know the desperation that we needed this player for so
Yeah.
long. So if you give me like a scale of 100, I would give him that as well. But yeah,
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
will give him 10 out of 10 based on the quality we are getting, the
Yeah,
value for money we are getting,
absolutely.
and
Yes, true.
how he can fit the system here. And finally, Spurs is in the first season when Spurs is getting players that they need rather than getting a best deal outside. Whoever is available is
Mm-hmm.
cheaper.
True.
Let's get him, even if you don't need it. So
I mean,
finally, we are
we are
trying
not
to.
touching upon another player that actually the transfer
Correct.
that went through the keeper. I mean,
And
I mean
just to
the
add
way
a
you
final thing in my rating point, that we also wanted that English quota to be filled very desperately, and that Maddison does
Mm-hmm.
add
yeah,
to that as well. So he
Ah,
fills
right, right,
all the
right.
check boxes that are there and more. So
Yeah.
that
brilliant.
is why my
Yeah,
rating is there.
finally Spurs have got a brilliant signing on their hands for a cut price deal rather. And Amit Amit looks pretty jubilated after this transfer has gone through. Only time will tell how that particular transfer pans out for Spurs. But yeah, I mean, for the price that they've got, it's a brilliant signing. Um, yeah, let's see how it goes. Thanks everyone for watching. Uh, we'll meet again for our next episodes. Peace.
Bye bye.
Bye.